Alright, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back with a very late night Big Brother stream. Um, I there's been a lot happening on really this thing just had to fall right now. I've been sitting here for I've been sitting here for like 5 minutes, and that just happened just now. Anyway, it's been kind of a busy night in the Big Brother fandom, and I've had a lot of thoughts, but you know, my last stream was I believe Tuesday talking about this show. So yeah, I do have a few things written on my phone, like from the past few days. But Tuesday and Wednesday, for the most part, were pretty slow. So, I got some stuff to report, but nothing too major. Hello, Scarlet Rain 88. Thank you for joining me today. All right, so I'm gonna try to blow through this as fast as I can because I don't really care about too much of this stuff. I want to get to tonight. So going back a few days, um, Jasmine tried to convince Joseph to flip and keep Smellvis. And she's like, I can get Alyssa on board, and like, you vote for Smellvis, and we can blame your vote on Brittany. And, Jasmine's just so proud of herself for this strategy. She really thinks she did something, and of course, it's just like, come on. Who are you kidding? You're the only person who thinks this is going to work. And sure enough, Joseph reports it back to the leftovers. And like in all of this, he's able to like at least turn Turner against Alyssa. Kyle, he's like a little, I don't know. He was a little on the fence at the time, but I think he's picked a side of the fence. You know, not quite the side we were hoping for fun feeds, but it is what it is. Uh, Michael and Brittany are like, we're willing to stick with the plan of like the leftovers if the twist keeps going. But if it ends and someone outside the alliance wins and they go for Monty, they're like, oh well, he'd have to go eventually anyway. So they don't see that as being too big of a deal. And they're right, Monty does have to go, just as Monty's probably going to side. At least Michael has to go. Probably won't deem Brittany too much of a threat. I I will say, when the leftovers do start turning on each other, I'd be very surprised if Brittany is one of the first to go, because I don't think there's much of a threat level from her. And like if she's alone, she'll have even less of a threat. Because remember, her only comp win so far, she won with Michael. So yeah. Smellvis and Terrence are talking. Oh, I can see them turning on Michael first with the amount of comps he's won. Yeah, that is something Michael needs to be weary of. And I feel like, I understand him going for HOH since he and Brittany were vulnerable as like the only festy bestie pair that didn't have an outsider in the festy bestie group that didn't have someone outside the leftovers in it. But so yeah, Michael winning that, I totally get because it secured him and Brittany's safety for the week. I do not think he had to win the veto. It's almost like he was showing off. Yes, Terrence did throw it to him at the end, but like Michael, you could have taken yourself out a little sooner. Anyway, Smallis and Terrence are talking. They're like, we just need Alyssa and Joseph on board to change the game. Terrence doesn't think Joseph is fully in the big alliance that's clearly brewing. He thinks he's more of like a tag along. And it's like, yeah, okay, think that. That's great. That's good for you. That's good for your game. Sassy Sip. Um, this was interesting and might be something I'm gonna keep an eye on post show. Jasmine, it sort of came out that she has a crush on Joseph. Jasmine is married. Yeah. And, you know, I don't think this is so much a crush as much as her just wanting to steal Taylor's man because it's very obvious that she and Joseph have feelings for each other. Oh dear, lol. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it is. I think she just wants to. Like, she doesn't want Joseph. She just doesn't want Taylor to have Joseph because Jasmine is a child in a 29-year-old woman's body, and not even like a good child. Like I've said a million times, I'm a man child. I admit that. I've said recently I don't adult very well, but I would never be that petty. Like that's some petty teenager crap. So that's all I think it is. I don't think Jasmine's feelings for Joseph are anything more than wanting to keep uh, him and Taylor apart. That might lead to an awkward conversation when she leaves the game. Yeah, yeah. I understand why her husband put his Instagram account on private. I understand. So Smellvis is talking. He suspects that Turner is either America's player or the saboteur, just someone who's in there to make moves that like aren't really his own choice. Like he's doing America's bidding, or he's just there to actively sabotage things. And just it's delusion. Like those are twists that haven't been done in a long time. Like saboteur, I was that the one that like they tried and then it failed miserably. Was that the saboteur? I don't know. That was before. That was before I was watching. Like both of those were before, so I'm not 100% sure how they worked. But yeah, that's where Smallvis's head is at because like nothing's making sense to him. Like he can't even fathom that the reason he's in the position he's in right now is because of himself. He's like, what, me? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do? I lusted over a 22-year-old who left the game on day 6 and bullied a, a black woman. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Why would anyone have a problem with me? And he gives two possibilities as to who he thinks is going to win America's favorite player. He thinks Michael, which, I think Michael will place high for America's favorite. I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll be up there. The other one he thinks, Jasmine. I don't understand how these people are close to Jasmine and think anyone likes her. I don't get it. Turner's the only one who's like, oh yeah, she's terrible. She's awful. I hate her. Although I do have a later update that might might indicate some other people are not a fan. There's no way she's winning America's favorite player. Yeah. I always put the U in favorite just to remind me that you're British. And, Terrence is listening to all this and he's just like, yep. And a lot of people were saying that for a while Terrence was just kind of yes anding everything. It's like whatever someone says, yes and some more bullcrap. But now he's gone from yes and to yes man. Just everything Smellvis says, Terrence is just like he's here for it. It's like, dude, he nominated you week 1. Why are you suddenly so close to him? Like I've never understood this. This happens a lot. Like a lot of uh, first HOHs get really close with like their surviving week 1 nominee or one of their surviving week 1 nominees. Smellvis got close to Terrence last year. This didn't last too long, but like Frenchie started an alliance with Kylan and Alyssa after he had nominated them. Now, granted, the slaughterhouse fell apart pretty fast, and then Kylan won the next HOH and took Frenchie right out. But yeah, uh, BB20. Tyler was the first HOH. He put up Sam. Sam survived in a very close vote. It was 7-6, and like Sam becomes his best friend. And like I don't understand why this keeps happening. Like you put me up week one, you endanger my game. Screw you. First chance I get, you're seeing the block. Yeah, I don't understand how this is such a trend. Like sometimes it lasts a surprisingly long time. Like Tyler and Sam both made it to Final Five on BB20, and then you know Tyler voted her out in fifth place, and suddenly she's shocked and doesn't even vote for him to win. Like he made it clear night one, Sam, that you are not much of a priority to him. But anyway, back to the present. Uh, Jasmine tells Smellvis that if she, Alyssa, Terrence, Indy, or Joseph win HOH, she'll feel confident. I did find it interesting she did not mention Smellvis, but I thought about it as like, you know, maybe she assumes he's staying, which, is just as comical as her saying to his face, "Oh yeah, you're not going to win because you're not even going to be here." Just you can always count on Jasmine to have her actions be interpreted in a rather clowny way. And at this point, I'm just like, now I want Joseph to win HOH because I want another blindside. You know, we've gotten blindside after blindside after blindside. Why stop here? We've been kind of deprived on blindsides the last few years, so let's make up for lost time. So Kyle and Alyssa start getting along again, and they're cuddling in bed, and they're making out, and they're just like they straight up say that they basically want to do it with each other, and I'm just like this is just not a showmance anyone is interested in because they don't have any chemistry. These are two people that are stuck in the same place, and they're both horny. Feasting on blindsides this season. Yeah. Yeah, we've already got more than the average for a typical BB season. But yeah, just Kyle and Alyssa, it's just like they want a showmance. I get it. So they're pushing the showmance. They always got a camera on them when they're together. But like this is not a good showmance. They're not gonna last if they stick around a while in the game. They might break up before the season ends. Or if they both end up in jury together, they might break up in the jury house. You know, it's like this no one likes this because they're not a good couple. They're a convenient couple. Like the other side of the house is called the leftovers is called the other side of the house the convenience store because they do whatever's convenient for them. But like Kyle, he's shopping for booty at the convenience store. Oh, should I have said that? Maybe not. I don't know. I kind of regret saying it. Like it just it felt wrong. OMG. Two crying laughing emojis and two thirst emojis. No, no, no. I think you got it right the first time, Scarlett. They are thirsty for each other. Anyway, moving on from the showmance. Don't even know why I really brought it up. Uh, Michael, he had a cam talk. It was a little animated. Good job I wasn't drinking when you said the booty line. Haha. Oh, well, yeah, that's good. Michael had a cam talk, and he seemed to get a little heated during it. And like I agree with most of what he was saying because like I feel like it's starting to catch up with him now that he could become a target sooner than he would like. But in the midst of all of it, he gives us his ideal boot order: Jasmine, Alyssa, Terrence, Indy. Really, any combination of those four, I would not mind because they're all just kind of bad. But yes, he wants his ideal boot order is the four non-leftover members to go first, and then from there, Joseph, then Kyle, then Monty, then Turner, then Taylor, Brittany, and then he wins. So he's basically saying he wants Brittany to be in the final two with him, which I expected. Um, I do kind of like that he's like not super into working with Kyle. Like you know, it was like at some point it was starting to look like maybe he might take Kyle up on his offer. Him and Brittany join Kyle and Alyssa. Like he thought about it for sure, but just hearing him say this, I'm like, okay, he's coming off of that. I mean, he wants Alyssa out second of the non-leftovers. Well, third because Smellvis, but he doesn't even mention Smellvis because there's nothing to talk about with him. But I do hope Joseph is not the first member of the leftovers to leave because he's doing the most work. Right? My dad just watches the episodes. He doesn't see the live feeds or read updates, so he doesn't realize that Joseph is really the one masterminding most of this. But Kyle is in all the goodbye messages, taking all the credit. And, it's like, you know, Kyle, you did good work making the leftovers become a thing, but, like, Joseph was really kind of he was the one who made things happen. Like, he had the ideas. Joseph is truly the mastermind this season, and I would be disappointed if he only comes in seventh place. My ideal Final Four has Joseph in it. He better not be first juror, lol. I'm not too worried about Joseph being a first juror. Even if a non leftover won HOH, I would not be worried about that. Like my worry was him being the first member of the leftovers to leave. I would not like that coming in seventh place or earlier if they decide to turn on each other sooner. So Wednesday we get the announcements that I've been waiting for. First of all, Festy Bestie Twist is ending. Second of all, the wall comp. Everyone's favorite HOH. I love the wall comp. I look forward to it every year, just like OTEV. And I think a lot of people are like that. The wall comp is a staple. And to quote to quote Dodgeball, the movie Dodgeball, um, this separates the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff, and the awkwardly feminine from the possibly Canadian. I don't know. I was thinking about that movie earlier and seeing the wall comp was going to be the next HOH. I combined the two. I don't know. I saw pictures of it. It looked crazy. Yeah, yeah. The wall comp. They always tilt the wall and they always throw stuff at everybody. And this year they gave them tinfoil hats because it was like a conspiracy themed thing. But believe me, we will get to that. We still got some more feed stuff in the meantime. Uh, Terrence tells Kyle that he's got him, and he's always been locked in with Kyle and Turner. And this is complete BS because it's like, Terrence, you're either lying to him now or you've been lying to Smellvis for days. Personally, I was thinking he's probably he's he's probably going to go with the house and he's going to vote out Smellvis. It's going to be unanimous, and that's what I thought would happen. That was my prediction. So I'm just like, he's talking to Kyle. I'm just like, this. I have no reason to trust you because you're a liar. You're either lying now or you were lying to Smellvis several times. It's like, whatever. And suddenly you, Kyle, and Turner are this thing. I don't think I've seen the three of you have a conversation with each other yet. I mean, for God's sakes, you're in three different festy bestie pairs. Groups, whatever. Still trying not to say pairs. There's, there's two of them were trios. It's three pairs, two trios. Um, all right, so this was an interesting one. Oh wait, yeah, I definitely wouldn't last long on that wall. I'd be lucky if I lasted 5 minutes. Well, that's about how long one person lasted, but we'll get to that. Anyway, Smellvis talks to Alyssa and says that since the Amira vote, 7 people have been working together, and he names them all 7 leftovers. Again, he's figured them out. And to be fair, the one thing the leftovers have not done well is hide themselves. They're always hanging out with each other, or at least most of them are always hanging out with each other. Like anytime there's like one person missing, like the next time there's a big grouping of them, the person who was missing last time is in it. And Smellvis also tells Alyssa that Kyle was asking if they should use the veto after Kyle and Smellvis won the veto last week. And, I'm thinking, okay, this could be interesting. I still want you to leave, Smellvis, but if you decide to break up the showmance on your way out or try to, you know, all's fair in Big Brother. But she hears this and she comes out of the conversation upset, and eventually she goes to Kyle. She asks him about it, and he just denies everything. And like, here's the thing: he stumbles over a lot of his words denying it. But Alyssa's just so head over heels for him that she believes him anyway. And it's like, girl, you're playing the game not with your brain, but with your. Well, I mean, we always say sometimes that guys make decisions with their manhood. Alyssa is playing Big Brother, making decisions from her womanhood. There, I said it. But he just, yeah, he trips over all of his words, but she just still decides to believe him anyway. It's like, this is why you're not in the leftovers. You're too stupid. This is why I don't really understand why they view her as too big of a threat. Like, if she were to win HOH, she would do whatever Kyle says. Anyway, Kyle tells Taylor about the chats between Smellvis and Alyssa, and he's mad at Smellvis for saying it, and he wants to really stick it to Smellvis in his speech, but Taylor's like, it could be a little risky because, you allude to anything, it might it might put the alliance in a weird spot. Like if anything slips. Like it wouldn't matter to Smellvis, but everyone else in the house would hear it. But she tells him, go for it in the goodbye messages. And then Kyle notes the big blow up between Taylor and Smellvis and Nicole. And he points out who left afterwards. It was Amira and then Nicole, and now Smellvis is looking to be next. And Kyle is just like, he's seeing that the Taylor's karma is real. And he says, you can't write this. And she says, don't come for me. I'll send for you. And I'm just like, mm, 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 mm. Taylor, this is why everybody loves you. Like, Taylor is such a nice person, but when she gets the chance to be a little sassy, she hits a home run every time, and I love it. Oh, she is amazing. Haha, exactly. So Brittany and Michael talk, and Brittany is actually starting to get a little worried about Turner now because they were talking and he recapped the entirety of Breaking Bad, and they're worried about his memory now. And let me tell you something. As someone who remembers the most minute details of my favorite shows, including Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead, and yes, Big Brother at this point, let me tell you, it's like there's some kind of hyper focus. Like I don't know if Turner is like neurodivergent at all. I know Joseph has, I believe, ADD. I don't know if Turner has anything like that, but like if he is, then like that could be his one thing that he's super focused on. Okay, and like with me, I can right now I can list all 151 original Pokemon in order, but I can't tell you what I had for lunch 3 days ago. Like I have a couple guesses, but not with any certainty. So it's like, sometimes people have weird memories. So, it could just be Turner was hyper focused on Breaking Bad, as I was when I watched it. So, it may not translate to any sort of memory competition because I try to play along with memory comps and like paying attention comps when they do them on the show, and I rarely do well. So yeah, they're eyeing Turner now for that, and they think they should keep an eye on Kyle. Or wait, keep an eye on. Okay, here's what I wrote in my phone. Should keep an eye on Kyle working with Alyssa and Kyle. I I wrote that wrong. I don't know what I was supposed to write there. I screwed something up. Uh, anyway, I'll just blow past that. We talk about how Taylor may have some kind of showmance brewing with Joseph, or a faux mance, which like is not real. I didn't mean to burp as I was saying that. I'm sorry. And they reiterate maybe Joseph should go first out of the leftovers. And I'm like, no, no, it should well, it should be Kyle. But if you want threat level, I think it should be Monty. I mean, you know, it should be Michael, but Brittany's not gonna want Michael to go because Brittany knows if Michael goes before her, she's left alone in that house. She has nothing. And so the veto episode, Wednesday's episode, we got to see the competition, and we already knew everything that happened. We knew it was Otev. We knew Michael won. Terrence threw it to him, and there was a big singing roach, a country singing roach. Sauce, get my sauce. That's what it was. He sounded like Country Creed, and like I didn't hate Creed as much as everybody else did, so that wasn't really a problem for me. But he definitely sounded a little bit like a country music version of Creed. But the only thing I really wrote for that episode was because we got Michael throwing Smellvis's words back at him, what he said to Taylor when he nominated her week one. Take this opportunity to apologize to the people you rubbed the wrong way. And Taylor gets a diary room segment at the end of the show comparing her revenge to her favorite snack, Lay's, because she's always eating chips in that house. But she compares that's what she compares the revenge to. Revenge is sweet and a little salty and eats a chip. And I'm just like, there's no way she doesn't get a Lay's sponsorship after this. There's no way. That Lay's would be foolish not to give her one. And after the episode, we got Taylor Cam talk. She doesn't like how Smellvis has basically become like the other side's leader. Everybody's just kind of trying to help him out, like trying to get him to stay and put him on a pedestal. And she's disappointed in Terrence the most because the first few weeks she opened up to him about a lot of stuff and she thought she was close to him. But he's been talking a lot of smack about her. He can't help himself because no one in that house can. You know, five people that have been ridiculously unfair to Taylor have left the house now, and it's going to continue because there's still at least three people in there, maybe four, that are going to continue it. But she does say she wants to talk to Terrence about targeting Monty. She doesn't really want to, but she just wants to like talk to Terrence about that and try and get herself like back into a good place with him socially, which makes sense. She says she wants to have fun in the Big Brother house, but she hates how Terrence, Jasmine, and Indy have all made her feel. And yeah, they really have. And it's starting to sink into her. Like, this whole thing has been more traumatic than I realized. She says she just wants to win HOH. She wants to do it to help the leftovers, as well as finally get a win for herself, because at this point, she still does not have a win under her belt. But the Taylor Joseph showmance or fomance is underway. They call themselves Jailer, which I don't think is the best name because like a jailer is a person who puts people in jail. A jailer, like it's kind of a weird name. But anyway, a plan is underway. They talk this over, and it starts with Michael saying that he walked in to the HOH room and Taylor and Joseph were kissing. So then this starts spreading around the house. Joseph talks to Jasmine about it. She's just shocked he's not with Indy. And from the look on his face, he was shocked that she thought that. Because, like, Indy does have a thing for him, but it's very one sided. He barely knows. He barely cares about her at all. Yeah, that's not the name I would have gone with for that ship. Yeah. I prefer Tasef. Tasef? Taylor, Joseph, Tasef? I don't know. Anyway, Joseph talks to Jasmine about, may or may not have a crush on Taylor. But as he's talking to her, he says that, like, you know, I'm just going to use this to get information from her, and I'm going to share it with you guys. Like, this is to get info from Taylor for you, when in fact, the plan is for Taylor to extract information from the other side. Because, like, she talks to the women about it, and, they're just like, oh, okay. And they actually are kind of on board with it now because it took Taylor possibly having a showmance for them to view her as an equal. And it's like, okay, that's just really weird. But afterwards, Jasmine and Indy are like, oh, we got Taylor wrapped around our finger now because we're just gonna get all of her game. We're gonna get all the information from her. They think they can control her because Joseph will control her. And it's like, you people keep blindsiding yourselves, whatever. Like, how many times you want to get got? And I feel like I've said that a lot. Like, not only have I said how many times are you looking to get got, I feel like there have been a few times where I've said that and then took a sip. Oh, there was one thing I actually skipped over. So, like, this happened. I wrote this before the Fomance thing. Um, Terrence is hoping for the wall comp, and he thinks it'll come down to him and Turner. I'm like, Terrence, do you actually think you're gonna last on that wall? I mean, is I'm not saying Terrence is like the most out of shape person ever, but you know, he's 47 years old. He, I got a bit of a gut on me. I admit that, and I've seen Terrence without a shirt. He's got a bit of a gut himself. He like I'm not saying he looks unhealthy, but he doesn't really have a six pack. You know, I'm just like, dude, you really think you're gonna be able to hold yourself up there for longer than like 20 minutes? Come on, or like a half hour tops. Smellvis thinks Alyssa has a shot, and I actually did too. I was like, I was already thinking that. I'm like, I think Alyssa's going to take the wall comp. She's built for it. She's small, but she works out a lot. She's very fit. I think she can hold herself up there. And he thinks Taylor will last an hour, but he doesn't think she has the drive for it. I'm like, dude, you have given her so much drive. Like, come on. All of her drive is from you. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that, like, the leftovers call the other side the convenience store. But, you know, a lot of this other side, they start, like, at this point, they basically accepted Smallville is going out. So, Jasmine, Alyssa, and Indy decide to start plotting their next move, which is to create a new alliance with Joseph and Kyle. And they call themselves the Five Slaughters. Okay, good luck with that. Come on. And I fully expect Joseph and Kyle to humor them for a while. It's like, oh yeah, okay. And if God forbid one of them wins HOH, I'm sure they'll be like, oh yeah, Five Slaughters all the way. But it's not real. And Monty is their first target. And I found it interesting that they excluded Terrence. But also, Alyssa tells Joseph that she and Kyle have kissed already. Like they sealed their alliance with a Kyle and Alyssa kiss. But Alyssa decides to tell Joseph that she and Kyle have kissed before. Because once again, Alyssa is running her mouth because she's just so darn goo goo gaga for Kyle. So Joseph reports this back to the leftovers. He's like, yeah, they're calling themselves the Five Swatters. They left Terrence out, interestingly enough. And he's like, it's possibly because of what he said. Now, it wasn't clear for too long. I mean, it wasn't clear for a while what he said that made them because Terrence is like public enemy number one in the house. Well, number two after Smellvis. And I'm like, I knew he was a bad player, but how did he get himself in this position so quickly? And then I found out that he was having a conversation and like they were talking about this guy Joe Budden. He's a I think he's a musician. Like the name's familiar, I just forget exactly who he is. But like he's he's an abuser, basically. He's abused women. And Terrence said if women stay with him when he's an abuser, then that's their fault. They know what they're getting into. And this really upset Brittany because she said that she's been in an abusive relationship before. Like she said that the I think she said the relationship before her husband, her current husband, was an abusive relationship. So so yeah, Brittany was very upset by that, and apparently the others are not too keen on him anymore for that. Even Joseph checked in with Brittany afterwards, like, "Hey, are you okay after that? Like, I'm willing to talk to you about that." But Brittany's like, "You know what? Just let him say it. Just let him bury himself." And that took some strength for Brittany to say, and I appreciate her for that because yeah, when I heard that's what Terrence was saying, I'm like, I don't care that he is zero physical threat or zero mental threat. Get him out next. Like that's unacceptable. And it did get me feeling confident that if a non-leftover were to win HOH, they could possibly at least get Terrence on the block. Like, like let's say Alyssa did win the wall comp. Let's say that my prediction came true. Alyssa wins the wall comp. She does decide to go for Monty as her main target, but then she also puts up Terrence. Uh, that would still be six leftovers voting out of eight. So they could still get Terrence out in that case. I mean, unless they decided it's time for Monty to go. But I don't want that. Terrence crossed a line, and he's been crossing several lines. And like I was willing to put up with him for a while, but he's gone too far. And I want him out of the house now. I just don't like the things he says about women. Same with Smellvis. All right, this is the last thing I have before the episode. Taylor and Brittany are talking about how selfish Jasmine is, and I'm like, go on, please. And they talk about how Jasmine broke a glass, did not clean up the shards, and just sat there watching as Brittany cleaned it up. And then Taylor tells Brittany, after you walked away, Jasmine said to me, "Oh, yeah, that was me." The fact that Jasmine has a foot injury right now and was willing to let someone step on broken glass. She did not clean it up herself. She left it there. Like, if someone steps on it, that's not my problem. Like, just the fact that she didn't clean it up and just watched someone else clean it up. This is like sociopath behavior. I'm sorry. I think Jasmine is a genuine sociopath. All she cares about is herself and making herself look good. And she's such a narcissist that she's never going to see just how bad she looks. Like, Jasmine is like just a bad person. Seriously. So, yeah, just hearing that, I'm just like, you know, you can go. You can go, Jasmine. After Terrence, but you can go. Or before. I would love it if they're the next two, honestly. Because I don't think Indy's a threat, and I generally don't think Alyssa's a threat. Because I feel like, you know, well, Indy's too emotional, and Alyssa is just too focused on Kyle to do anything. So, we get to the episode. Now, first of all, first thing I wrote down, the fact that Smellvis mentions arguably the two greatest Big Brother players of all time. He mentions Dan Giesling. I guess he had some kind of connection with him because his name's also Dan. And he mentioned Dr. Will. He called the he went to the fake phone in the house and called it like, "Hello, Dr. Will." As like, yeah, okay, good for you. You know the greatest Big Brother contestants of all time. But you play so badly, you shouldn't even say their names. You don't deserve it. So just thinking he has any right to invoke them as he's about to most likely leave pre-jury is something. So then it comes time for his speech. He is not worthy. No, he's not. It's time for his speech as to why he shouldn't go, and he's just like, "Feel free to evict me so that I can hang out with Nicole and Paloma and never have to talk to any of you bozos again." And he just points out how Michael's a huge threat. He's won 5 comps already, and he's working with Monty because he just pulled him off the block when Monty was the obvious move to make. And it's just like you're making yourself look like an even bigger tool than everybody already thinks you are. So go ahead, dig yourself even deeper. I don't even think I really listened to Kyle's save me speech because it's like as long as Kyle doesn't throw a punch, he's probably going to survive over him. And even if he does throw a punch, he might just barely still make it. So everyone goes in and votes. And I knew they were going to do this. 9 people were voting. That means it only takes 5 votes to evict Smellvis. I knew. I knew they were going to save Taylor for number 5. They were going to let her be the 5th vote, the final nail in his coffin, to guarantee that he was leaving, regardless of how the rest of the votes went. I knew they were going to do it, and I'm happy they did it. But ultimately, the vote is actually 8-1 because Terrence does end up voting to evict Kyle. And, whatever. Yeah, Smellvis leaves. He hugs Terrence on the way out, doesn't do it to anybody else, and he just walks out. And, I I've met a lot of people over the years who've just kind of stormed out without saying a word to anybody. And, you know, a lot of people talk about Cody from BB19 and how he did it. And it's like, oh yeah, that was awesome. He hated those people. He was the best one there. He called them out for it. And I'm just like, people, Cody was just as bad as them. All right? He was a dour transphobe. And, like, yeah, he hated them, but he hates everything. Everything in his life he seems to hate. He's always miserable. I don't think that man has ever been happy. So, yeah, of course he hated them. And of course he would storm out like a punk. Anyway, enough about BB19. Uh, Poetic justice for Taylor being the 5th vote for Smellvis. I mean, yeah, I knew they were going to do it. They did something similar last year when Brent was evicted. Uh, he was the 3rd one evicted. There were 11 votes cast, so he only needed 6 to be evicted, and they saved Hannah for number 6 because Brent had made her uncomfortable day after day after day. Like he was borderline predatory towards her. And she was so excited to be the one to vote him out. I think she knew that she was the final nail in his coffin. But if she didn't, then she knew at the end of it when the vote was unanimous to evict him. But yeah, Smellvis, he goes out like a punk, and Julie's talking about how everyone came together and formed the leftovers the night of, like the night after, a few hours after the blow up between him, Nicole, and Taylor. And he's just like, I admire that everyone's able to come together after something like that. You, let me get this straight. You admire that all these people came together for a common good after a bad thing. You did! You did that! You caused it! Like, it was already, the plan was already in motion. Like, they were thinking, how are we going to get ourselves a big alliance here? And that fight just cemented, we got to bring Taylor in. And it's just like, the fact that he's so proud of them for coming together because he treated her so bad, it's just like, you are delusional. And I can't wait to watch your exit interviews tomorrow because you are going to get torn apart. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. Of course, Taylor's goodbye message was iconic. She was like, well, now you get your wish. You don't have to talk to me again until finale night. And I'm like, don't even talk to him then. Ugh. So, Julie tells everybody, bestie besties are over, and I don't think anybody was happier than Turner about that. And you've all made jury, at least. 9 of you are going to be in jury, 2 of you are going to sit in the end, of course. He sees himself as the catalyst for the alliance and fails to see his actions indirectly led to 2 people getting evicted, including his best friend. Well, 3 people getting evicted, really. If you count Amira. I feel like Amira was the plan already that week, but Amira did not help in that instance. But yes, Julie tells them they have reached the jury stage and that it is time for the wall comp. So they all get up, and then Julie introduces the next twist that's going to be starting next week. This is just a regular week. An HOH, 2 nominees, a veto comp, and then an eviction. But next week, once it's down to 10, it's going to split the house in half. I guess 5 on each side. And they're going to be playing 2 concurrent games of Big Brother. Like, there'll be 1 HOH on each side of the house and 1 person evicted. And I I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I feel like it could go wrong, but then again, Festy Besties, I was certain it would go wrong, but they managed to rise above and made it work. It just it depends on how the split is for the leftovers. Like, and it depends on how they are separated. Like, if it's done at random, like, yeah, okay. If they get to choose, then no worries there. The leftovers will divide and conquer. They'll just be like, okay, 4 of us will go on this side, and 3 of us will go on this side, and then we'll just take out whoever's left. But like, if it is at random and like, let's say, God forbid, all the leftovers end up on one side of the house, they're gonna have to target each other. And a lot of people are saying like, we wanted this for past seasons when it was a super alliance we didn't like, but now this is actually going to forcibly break up the alliance, or could break them up. I mean, it depends on how it splits. So I just, it it all may work out. We may just lose 2 more non leftovers faster. And it'll be no harm, no foul. But I will say, one thing I hope does happen with this twist. I hope Kyle and Alyssa end up on separate sides. That's just me wanting fun feeds. I feel like they'll both spiral without each other, and they'll both be paranoid that the other one is going home on the other side. Taylor and Joseph being separated, I I feel like you know I think they'd both be okay if they were. Like they'd miss each other, but they wouldn't spiral. So I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this twist yet. I want to see it play out. I want to see what the split is, and we'll just go from there. Vote both of them out. Oh, Kyle and Alyssa, like separate them, like have them both be evicted because two people are going home next week. It's a double eviction, but not in the traditional sense. Like the typical double eviction is, we get the first eviction out of the way early in the episode. Then they do an HOH competition, nomination ceremony, veto competition, veto meeting, second eviction, and they get that all out in 1 hour. And I always like double eviction night because it tends to cause some chaos. The game moves very fast, and I enjoy that. So I hope they. I've seen double evictions in the UKBB. Ah, okay. I didn't watch UKBB. Anyway, um, I do hope they do a traditional double eviction at some point. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Anyway, it is now time for the HOH competition, the wall comp. So everybody gets up there, and they're all wearing tinfoil hats because it's Conspiracy Fest. And I'm like, you're talking about conspiracies in the Big Brother house, and you didn't call Kat from BB24 to host? Come on, what's wrong with you? She totally would have at least Skyped or Zoomed into being a host. They're all wearing tinfoil hats. They're hanging on to a flat Earth, and competition starts. We get a commercial, comes back. They're all still hanging. And after Julie does the outro, Jasmine just jumps off the wall. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone not make it to the end of the live episode for the wall comp. I'm trying to remember. Like, even Derek F. last year lasted like 10 minutes. But I mean, like, Jasmine definitely seemed to throw it. I think she's just like, okay, how do I land so that I don't hurt my leg again? And she didn't, she went down. I'm like, did she hurt her leg again? But no, she got up. It was fine. Um, Terrence says to Taylor at one point in the competition, "Don't talk to me." I don't know what Taylor was saying. I think she was just like being encouraging up there. But he said, "Don't talk to me." I'm like, dude, screw you. You just, ugh. I always like to root for the oldest contestant, but Terrence is making it almost impossible this year. Shame she didn't injure her other leg. That was bad of me. Sorry. Haha. Nah, don't worry. I agree. It is a shame. Maybe then they'd evacuate her. Anyway, Terrence says that. Not not proud of him for that. But of course, Jasmine falls before the episode even ends. And then the next one to fall is Brittany. Not too surprising. Didn't think she'd last very long. Then Terrence. Gotta say, I thought Terrence would be first or second. So him falling third is better than I thought he would do. Next is Monty, which I get. He's a big guy. The big muscular guys usually don't do well in the wall comp. Next to drop is Alyssa. I was so happy about that. She was the one I was most worried about, and that's why I predicted that she would win. I'm like, if I predict this is what will happen, maybe I'll be wrong because a lot of my predictions end up being wrong in basically everything I watch and just do in life, really. Then Alyssa drops, and then Indy drops. Very surprised Indy outlasted Alyssa. But with Indy dropping, that means that a leftover is winning HOH. Because Taylor, Turner, Joseph, and Kyle are still hanging up there. And I'm just like, okay, we got another leftover as HOH. Beautiful. But I wanted to go to Taylor the most. So Turner drops next. Then Joseph comes down to Taylor and Kyle. And I'm like, Kyle wants this because he wants the HOH room so that he and Alyssa can just have all the privacy they want. Well, I was surprised Kyle lasted as long as he did because he is also a big guy. And Kyle falls, and Taylor wins. HOH. I was dancing in my kitchen after I saw that update. Oh my god, I was so happy. Like, it's fair to say that 2022 has not been a great year, just in general. Like, just the general vibe of the world is we're wrapping this up. But the Taylor winning HOH, it was like it was like a healing moment. It was just so beautiful. And I was so proud of her. I was so proud of my first round draft pick finally getting her first win. And on the wall comp, no less. And just the fact that it was so short this year, like the wall comp only lasted like 45 minutes this year, give or take. Last year it lasted an hour and a half. So, like, the fact that everyone else dropped this quickly, who knows how long Taylor could have held on? Like, I think she could have lasted even longer. But she won. She's HOH. She gets to get a letter from her mom. She gets to listen to Beyonce's new album because that's what she said. She wanted Beyonce's new album after she won HOH. She specifically wanted to win HOH after Beyonce's new album came out. And yeah, she did it. So the game talk starts. Well, not too much, but like other people start talking about like what a Taylor HOH could mean for them. Terrence feels fine with it because I guess he already forgot that he just said, "Don't talk to me" on the wall. I'm like, dude, you were already making yourself a target. This did not help. But he's like, I feel fine with Taylor. And, Turner is just listening to him talk. He humors him. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. And Jasmine, Alyssa, and Indy. They're not good at putting on a happy face. They're not happy that Taylor won, and they're not hiding it well. Like they're trying to be nice, but you know, Brittany's happy for her though. Like it's not all the women that are mad. Like Taylor and Brittany celebrate in the storage room, and I guess Jasmine walked in on it. I'm like, okay, well maybe Jasmine has to go now. I can see why talking would be a distraction on a comp like that, but still, it wasn't cool if Terrence had practically bite Taylor's head off. Yeah, just ignore it. Don't say anything. OMG, Jasmine must have been sick with jealousy. Jasmine has been sick with jealousy for over a month now. And that is all I have written in my phone. And it still took me over an hour to get here. I wanted to get to tonight's episode as fast as I could, but I don't know. You know me, I always get distracted by something. Now it's time to check the timeline, see what's going on. Um, Whoever's running Taylor's Twitter account, um, they post, posted this prayer circle for a Taylor HOH with candle emojis. Well, it worked. All right, let's check BB updates. Let's see, Taylor, like when I last saw it, Taylor hadn't really settled on any sort of nominee. She's just kind of enjoying the moment right now, and I don't blame her for that. I've been enjoying the moment. She should savor it. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Jasmine's like, don't put me up on my birthday week, and I'm just like, please put her up on her birthday week. Evict her on her birthday week. That'd be funny. It's what she deserves. She basically just like, I'm a Leo. You can't evict me. Put her up on her birthday week. I would not have been mad with a Turner HOH because Turner 100% would have done that. All right, I think this is where I was last. Joseph is saying they're like Taylor is working with Brittany and it's so annoying. Jasmine was like, I just walked in the storage room and caught them celebrating. Brittany's like, she didn't catch me. We weren't hiding it. Yeah, Brittany's not afraid of Jasmine anymore. And Brittany says, you didn't catch me because we weren't hiding it because I'm not a mean girl. You were mean to a girl and now she is HOH. You were salty. I was nice to her before, so she knows it's genuine. Oh, Brittany is just coming for Jasmine's throat today. Oh, I'm retweeting that right now. That's amazing. Thank you, Brittany. Brittany's done with Jasmine. I I love it. I can see Brittany pushing Taylor to do Jasmine, but Taylor, like I said, Taylor is a better person than I could ever hope to be, and I think Taylor might decide not to put Jasmine up on her birthday week. It's possible. LOL, it's just come up on my phone. You're welcome. And Jasmine says, I'm going to try my best to talk to her. Alyssa says, who is your pitch going to be? Jasmine says, I don't know. Kyle, do we even say a name or do we say whoever you want? And Jasmine says, don't say that because it might be you. Yeah, well, it could be you, Jasmine. Oh, yeah, Jasmine's fully planning to pitch that it's her birthday week. Jasmine asks Taylor, are you going to be talking to people tonight? And Taylor says, I have to think about it. I should. Jasmine says, I'm going to stay up and hopefully I can chat with you tonight. Taylor says, We'll talk, but you are not going home this week. Jasmine's like, oh my god. Taylor says, it's your birthday. Jasmine, thank you so much. I mean, Taylor, that's very nice of you, but, mm, but, you know, I've been saying Terrence is basically public enemy number one now, so, like, putting Terrence up could actually build some goodwill with the other side of the house, the convenience store, as it were, because they're over him too. I mean, I trust that Taylor's gonna do what's right for her game. Although, like I said, Taylor is a much better person than me, and I'm tweeting that right now. If I was Jasmine or Terrence, I'd be feeling very nervous right now, or Indy for that matter. I'm feeling more worried for Indy now. All right, so yeah, Jasmine probably not going up. So I'm thinking, like, is it possible Taylor would put up a member of the leftovers as a pawn? Like, it's not impossible. Jasmine says to Taylor, I was like, is Taylor going to put me up because I pawned her? I swear I had to. I couldn't let the guys catch on or anything. Yeah, okay, whatever. Taylor to Jasmine, that conversation I had about why I'm here, you are the only other one left. I'm not doing it. Wow. So Taylor doesn't want to put Jasmine up. I'm pretty sure she's referring to, like, she's here because, like, after the cookout last year, she wants to, like, represent as a black woman. Jasmine's the only other black woman now. So that's why Taylor doesn't want to do it. So, I mean, you know, Taylor has good reasons. I just don't like them because I don't like Jasmine. Does that split game twist happen this week or next? Like, is this week a normal eviction? Yes, this week is going to be normal. Next week, the house splits. It means that Taylor will not be eligible for HOH in that one, most likely. And could be that could be a little risky depending on who she's paired with. Well, not paired with, but grouped with. Oh, Kyle saying he doesn't really like Indy. And Alyssa's like, I don't love her either. And Kyle says, she is not a nice person. Or Jasmine. They are both mean people. Oh, how about that? Kyle actually saying something right for the first time in a while. Eh, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Here's the lie from Kyle, though. Exactly. Alyssa says that Jasmine was like, I can make Brittany cry if I want to. Why would you even say that? Kyle says, even to have that thought in your mind. Yeah, like I said, Jasmine is a sociopath. This is why I couldn't watch Celebrity Big Brother last year. Todrick Hall, full blown sociopath. Like, that guy is straight up dangerous. And a lot of people really need to start getting some distance from him. And Taylor says to the cameras, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow. This whole house, except for the leftovers, are so scared. This whole house, like, that's 7 people in the house are leftovers out of 11. That's not the whole house, but, you know, let them be scared. Okay, so at this point, I'm willing to bet Terrence is going to be the target. Um, She she could put Indy up. She could put Alyssa up because that would be like, that would secure Kyle's vote for sure to get Terrence out. Or she could even put up Kyle to secure Alyssa's vote. Uh, can't put up Monty. He's too many people might jump at the opportunity to try to vote him out, including some in the leftovers. So I don't think that's the right move. Brittany, I just don't think she's going to do because she's really close with her. Michael, she's really close to. Joseph, she's really close to. Turner, there's not a 0% chance that she could use if she does decide to go a leftover pawn route. She could go for Turner. I think the safe move probably would be Terrence and Indy. And if one of them comes down, mm, I mean, she says she doesn't want to go for Jasmine, so I guess Alyssa. But I think just Alyssa in the event that um, one comes down. I'd love it if Taylor wins veto this week. That would just make this even better because you know Jessica, who won HOH at this time in BB21 at top 11, first week of jury. Jessica won out of nowhere. I did not think Jessica was going to win anything that season, but she won and she put up the jacks, and then she won the veto and kept them there. And it was just that was the greatest week in in that I have seen of Big Brother. It was just so amazing. And then Jack gets evicted and gets called out for being a racist in front of America. You gotta love it. I think Taylor has a shot. I mean, you know, she can't really go for as big a target as Jessica did because the biggest threats in the house, Taylor is very closely aligned with. And I don't think she would risk putting them on the block. So my official guess right now, Terrence and Indy nominees. I think Terrence would be the target because she just does not like what she's heard about him, what he said behind her back. And I don't blame her because Terrence is a sexist jerk. Terrence has become what I thought Monty was the first 2 weeks. But Monty turned himself around, and Terrence has just. Well, Terrence also turned himself around, but in the wrong direction. Not that Terrence was in a great place already, but like he's just. I don't know. I would be very surprised if Terrence is not the one leaving. Of course, I say this now with 6 days to go. Who knows what could happen? But yes, my initial prediction: Terrence Indy noms, Terrence target. Okay, so that's all I got. Uh, when do noms happen? Is it Monday? No, nominations are tomorrow. Saturday is the veto competition, and Monday is the veto meeting. And I'm trying to decide has the veto been used every week? No, no, it is not. Week two, uh, the veto was not used. Taylor and Pooch were up there. Michael won it because, of course, he did. He's won 4 out of 5 vetoes. The only veto he didn't win, he wasn't playing in the competition. Uh, week two. Did you remember that before I said it? If you did, then good for you, Scarlett. But yeah, week two, Michael won the veto. Did not use it. Thought he might, but he did not. I typed that as you said it. Okay, gotcha. Parallel thinking. Um, Yeah, the veto has been used almost every week this season. But I think Terrence and Indy are up there, and they don't win it for themselves. I can't see it being used. I think everyone just be like, nah, you two can go. It's fine. We don't care. All right. So that is an hour and 20 minutes for me, closer to an hour 21. I'm going to wrap it up here because it is 2:13 in the morning and I am tired. But I'm happy. Taylor won her first HOH, and it's not looking good for the sexist jerk Terrence. And yeah, Taylor won. Smellvis was evicted and Taylor won. What a great day in the Big Brother house. Peace out.